And I'm standing with our headline sponsors Groupon, Claire and Dan. How are you guys doing?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, really good. How are you?
Yeah, all good. It's good. It's been a great day actually. And it's great to have you guys involved in PR Live, headline sponsor. What has been some of your highlights?
So I think the highlights for today is just the wealth of people here. I mean, we had to queue to get in when we arrived, and I think actually having the Groupon Reach Network team here in force, having such a fantastic area to present in, to network in, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, I'd echo that completely. I think it's quite rare that you have just so many people from all sides of the industry in one place at one time. And just having people in the same place sharing ideas, sharing challenges in some cases, and really just having a sort of collaborative place to work in together. Yeah, you can't beat it really from that perspective.
Cool, great stuff. And you both just come out of your session. We've all touched on about the gap between consumer behaviour and the voucher code system. So there were a lot of elements, and there were some studies, some key stats came out of it as well. What were the key takeaways?
Yeah, I think so. As sort of mentioned, we commissioned a study in preparation for the talk, and I think that there were some surprising points in there that even sort of had us talking around the business of that actually the usage of discount codes is by no means sort of everywhere. I think we showed that just over half of consumers actually only use discount codes between 0 and 10% at the time, but what was key was that actually the most common users are those people who shop online on a daily basis. And with how online shopping is projected to grow and grow over the coming 10 years or so and be 50% of all sales by 2028, it shows that it's going to become ever more prevalent and ever more sort of constant in how people shop. So I think that was the first thing. I think on the sort of the subconscious part, which was probably the sort of the really interesting part, it was just the ways in which really we can use marketing and certainly the Groupon Reach network from our perspective as a means of pulling on those sort of subconscious tendencies. So whether it's driving spontaneous purchasing or giving people instant gratification or introducing a kind of degree of scarcity and fear of missing out, it was just, I think, a really good exercise in highlighting how you can use some of those things to your advantage as a marketer.
Cool, great stuff, Dan. And Claire, kind of touching on the kind of consumer buying habits kind of constantly changing, and also channels entering a purchasing funnel. How should marketers best analyse these influences and incorporate the appropriate strategies to effectively target our audience?
So I think with advertisers, you need to be looking at a full 360 marketing strategy. There's lots of subconscious purchasing behavior that we can tap into from consumers. And it's about making sure that we're pulling on all the strings. Whether it's looking at how you can push average order value up to be able to deliver a sale by giving a reward, a gift card to a consumer, whether it's increasing the discount code use that you have to be able to convert users that are actively seeking those discounts, and as we saw from our data and our survey group, would be very likely to shop elsewhere if a discount code wasn't available. So I think it's about incorporating as many different channels the publishers can offer into your full discount marketing code strategy. From an advertiser's point of view.
Cool, great stuff. And so I'm touching on the Groupon Reach network. The acquisition of Voucher Cloud last year was a big talking point, and particularly the push for the Groupon Reach network. So that's just kind of the angle you're pushing. For those who are kind of not aware, kind of what could you clarify? Kind of what this means for the company and kind of where it's kind of heading?
Yeah, sure. So I think the first thing that we'd sort of emphasise, and the clues in the name to a degree, is just the sheer reach that you can get from us now as a combination of those two businesses, as was pre-acquisition. And we spoke in the presentation about how, as a result of the Reach network, we've now got the ability to engage with consumers throughout the entire purchase journey. And not just that, we actually, by bringing on various partners to increase the Reach network, we actually just have unprecedented sort of numbers of people that we can engage with now across all of our publishing partners like The Mirror and The Guardian and Mumsnet, etc., outside of Groupon and Voucher Cloud domains themselves. And I think also, as a relative newcomer to the business, so I joined at the start of this year, what you really realise is that we've now got the combination of sort of a global sort of brand and superpower brand, as it's sort of referred to in Groupon, but combining that with the real sort of leading expertise of a business like Voucher Cloud that really understands the space. It's been there since day one. And we like to think that, you know, the combination of the two is compelling for marketers and for brands and for agencies and networks alike.
Sure, brilliant, great stuff. And Claire, with the analysis of consumer behaviour and difference between conscious and subconscious spending habits, how do you see these areas kind of changing as we prepare for 2020?
So I think from some of the data we looked at, we know the consumers aren't, consciously looking for discount codes all of the time, and we also know that consumers are very likely to pay full price for an item. So I think when we look at conscious purchasing and the conscious behaviours behind purchase decision making, we could probably pull on the fact that customers will likely spend more. So I think that's where instant gratification and trying to stretch average order values to deliver incremental revenue for advertisers comes in. I think with the subconscious element, you've got a degree of both, low and higher spends from consumers. So fear of missing out, a low product, you may have a higher propensity to be able to drive that purchasing using FOMO, using the scarcity principle. But at the same time, if you've got a compelling enough product, or people are all jumping on the bandwagon at the same time, then you can drive these higher price purchases as well. As we move into 2020, I don't think that we'll see a big change in our subconscious or our conscious behaviours. Our subconscious behaviours are obviously, we're not aware of them 95% of the time. So I think what we will see is advertisers really, making sure that they're using these base consumer behavioural principles within their marketing strategies.
Oh, great stuff. And kind of wrapping up our interview just now, it's kind of any announcements or anything you'd like to share before we sign off?
No announcements as such. I think just to say, look, congratulations on a fantastic event. This is my first, so I'm sort of experiencing it for the first time. And yeah, really just, I suppose the only announcement is I could use a beer at this point in time. So I think looking forward to a few networking drinks and just, walking around the rest of the exhibition tomorrow.
Great stuff. And anything else you'd like to add, Matt?
Oh, I echo Dan completely, 100% on the beer. But this has been a fantastic event so far. How are we going to fit in here next year? That's my only comment.
Great stuff. No, thank you both for taking the time to speak to PerformanceIN, and great to have you guys as headline sponsor. And we wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of PR Live, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.